Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining. We really do appreciate it. Your time is precious, and we never underestimate it or devalue it. So thank you so much for that. My name is Candace Noonan. I am the Director of Education for Derma Concepts, and we are the exclusive distributor for Environ Skincare here in the United States and the Caribbean. I am based in sunny South Florida, and of course this time of year is absolutely beautiful to be around. It's cool 80s, there's no humidity, and it's just such a beautiful time in Florida. So if you're joining us live, I'd love to know, where are you from? Where are you joining us from? It's always wonderful to see the diversity. Of course, 10 a.m. Florida time. Obviously, our West Coast peeps might still be sleeping, but if you are awake, definitely give us a shout out. I'd love to have the opportunity to see where you're from. But what I am going to be covering today, I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into me and myself, and this is sort of my little disclaimer as well. I have been working with Derma Concepts for almost 14 years, and I gauge it by my son's age. He was barely 3 months old when I joined Derma Concepts, and I had severe melasma due to the pregnancy. And I stumbled across Environ Skincare here in the US, and I completely and utterly fell in love with it, because coming from South Africa, which you can hear my accent, that is where Environ Skincare is manufactured and where it was born. And so as a 13-year-old, my sister took me for my first bra, my first wax, and my first Environ regimen. So Environ's really been ingrained in my culture since a very young age. So finding it here in the US and having this longevity and career with the skincare brand, it has made me very proud. Not only that, have I been able to really see an improvement in my own skin. So that's my little disclaimer. But enough about me. What we're going to be talking today is about how to treat those resistant acne scars. I know in our practices we see them a lot. We have to always be careful our verbiage with regards to how we speak as cosmetic providers, cosmetic companies, because the FDA is all over us at the moment with regards to what it is that we're allowed to claim, what it is that we're allowed to say. And even in that title, as a cosmetic educator, you know, there is some controversy about how to say this correctly so that the FDA doesn't come down on us. So things like treating the appearance of scars is something that you should really consider putting on your websites or using as verbiage, just so that you stay on the right side of the FDA. So we're going to be speaking about atrophic scars. So this is the agenda that I'm going to be going over with you over the next 30 minutes. How acne develops, what is an atrophic scar, what does acne, why does acne cause scars, what are the types of scars, what are some of the preventative measures we can take, and then if you haven't been able to prevent those scars, how are we actually going to treat them once they've developed. Now, just as a very easy, simplistic overview of how acne develops, there is an accumulation of sebum which converts a microcomedone into a closed comedone, and that's known as a whitehead. The follicular orifice enlarges over time, blackhead. Now, an inflammatory pustule develops when the follicular contents rupture into the surrounding dermis, producing a superficial papule, a deeper pustule, or an even deeper nodule, depending on the level of rupture. And this also has the involvement of the P. acne bacteria, which symbiotically lives very happily on the surface of our skin until that acid mantle becomes disrupted, and this poor little P. acne bacteria that's usually sitting on top of our skin, happily contributing to the acidic pH of our acid mantle, when he no longer has any oil or food on the surface of the skin to eat, he then goes in search and he finds it at the source. And he goes down into that follicle and he starts finding the source of the sebum. and he eats the triglycerides, and the byproduct of that is free fatty acids. Now, under normal circumstances, when he's on the surface of the skin, this is perfect because it contributes to the natural acid pH. But when he's gone in search of food and now he's inside the sebaceous gland, unfortunately, by changing the pH, you create that inflammatory response. So it is important through your development of protocols to help prevent and treat the appearance of problematic skin that you really think about not drying the skin out, because that will send those P. acne bacteria searching for food and pull that pH that's supposed to be on the surface into those sebaceous glands. So what are the different kinds of scars, right? So we have the atrophic scar is an indented scar that heals below the normal layer of the skin. Atrophic scars form when the skin's really unable to regenerate the tissue in a very correct way and in a normal way. The skin either creates too much or too little collagen, so as a result, it leaves behind this imbalanced scarring. Atrophic scars are often the result of severe acne or even some diseases like chickenpox, and they can also form after having a mole removed. I don't know why I wanted to say that one. A mole removed. Now, why does acne cause scarring? I wasn't severe acne, but teenagers on average going through puberty, it's sort of the perfect storm. Skin doesn't produce oil for the first 12, 13, 14 years of our life, and that's because our skin needs to learn. It needs to be exposed to allergens and dust and dirt so that the immune system, what these allergens are, deal with them. And then at the age of 13, along with hormonal changes, our skin starts producing oil, so this creates this perfect storm of opportunity for pustules and acne to develop. So why do some people get through that without any scarring and some people have scars for life? So some people are more likely to see scars when their acne clears, and this risk increases when a person has inflammatory acne, such as swollen, reddish, and painful acne, and these often include acne cysts and nodules, and this type of acne tends to penetrate deep into the skin, which damages it. You are more likely to develop these if you delay or do not treat the inflammatory acne. The longer a person has, the greater the risk of scarring. If somebody picks, squeezes, or pops acne, as skincare therapists, we know this is one of our biggest fights. Stop picking your pimples. And the reason for this is that if they don't do it correctly, if they don't do it in a very gentle way, all that squeezing, instead of pushing the inflammation out, it pushes it in, and you can actually pop the pimples, so to speak, inside the skin, exasperating the inflammatory process. So that increase in inflammation increases the risk of scarring. And unfortunately, there is a genetic component to this. If you've had a blood relative who developed acne scars, you are at a higher risk. Unfortunately, genes do play an important and large role. So we know what increases a person's risk of developing acne scars. It's not possible to predict who will develop these scars or not, and even people who have may not even scar. I had an aunt who had severe ice pick scarring, and fortunately that genetic trait was not passed on to me during my puberty years. So we have the types of scars. We have our ice pick scars. These look like very deep pits with sharp edges that are the most common type of scarring. There are boxcar scars. These are more angular scars that usually occur on the temple and the cheeks, and can either be superficial or they can be deep. Rolling scars that give the skin a wave-like or cobblestone type appearance. And then we get hypertrophic scars, which are thickened, or what we term keloid scars. Prevention is always better than cure. You know, the apple a day will keep. And here are some of the topicals. Some of them include ingredient peroxide, within itself is a phenomenal acne treatment. But I think use of it needs to be cautious, because just like using hydroquinone for term use. And the reason being is going back to my story about that P. acne bacteria. Drying the skin out initially may really be a great way to see that initial improvement in the skin. But long term, when your P. acne bacteria have nowhere to live, they're going to reside in those sebaceous follicles and cause even further inflammation, especially when you stop using the benzoyl peroxide. Your skin then overreacts and overresponds and goes, oh my gosh, I've been so dry for so long. I really have to bump up oil production to balance that out. So it's a great solution, but it should be used as a short-term solution, not a long-term solution. Kind of think of it like a Band-Aid. You want to really get to the problem at its source, and that is an overactive sebaceous gland. And how do we deal with that? Think about that as a solution, rather than using Band-Aids to sort of just. Salicylic acid has been very well used in peroxide for multiple reasons. It purifies the skin, lyses the skin. So P. acne bacteria that's now overrunning the skin is being calmed. And the benefit of using something like salicylic acid is the fact that your bacteria can't become resistant to it, not like antibiotics that you'll have to consistently change antibiotics to get the same result. Salicylic acid, the bacteria cannot become resistant, so it can be used as a long-term solution. Salicylic acid is preferable to the alpha hydroxy acids just simply because it has a greater ability to get into that hair follicle and really clear out the blockages, because it has an affinity to oil, versus your alpha hydroxy acids, which are also great for exfoliation, and things like lactic acid have a great benefit for acne because it's a larger molecule, so it doesn't burn as much. Glycolic acid on a acne skin that's dried out will really do a number in terms of the sensation, because it's such a small molecule and it'll penetrate very, very quickly. So the alpha hydroxy have their place because they are exfoliating. It's a giver as well. It's hydration. It helps with pigmentation as well, which is of a great benefit, especially if you do have a client that now, because of this inflammatory breakout, is pigmenting. Salicylic is your number one acid because of its ability to be more oil soluble and get into that channel that's blocked. But the alpha hydroxys have their place because they help exfoliate at a superficial level, and then lactic acid is giving back as well. Some of your most popular topical applications of ingredients is going to be in retinoids. And when I was talking about acne, source of why you're developing acne, that's where the retinoids are going to work. Just simply because vitamin A as an ingredient is known as a skin normalizer. And so what that means for anti-aging, it helps to prevent DNA damage, it's great for pigmentation, but specifically for the condition of problematic skin, it helps to normalize the sebaceous output. So in that oily skin that now is not being exfoliated well, that's really causing those blockages, the retinol gets into that sebaceous gland and says, calm down. Stop producing so much oil. There's really no need for you to do it. So vitamin A controls up to 1,000 genes in your skin cell. So it really helps to make sure that those genes are behaving correctly. And this is important, again, when it comes to overproduction of sebaceous material. Now, the retinoids is a big umbrella, and underneath that we have ingredients like retinol, retinol palmitate, retinol acetate, retinol propionate, and also retinoic acid. So even within that retinoids category, you really have to choose which form of the retinoid you're going to use. The retinols are typically the most popular from a chemical standpoint. That is the standard for vitamin A. But there's a few things about retinol. It's unstable, doesn't have a very long shelf life, and unfortunately it can be quite aggressive on the skin because of that alcohol formulation. It can tend to dry the skin out, and for a oily skin, as much as you think drying it out is a good idea, when you dry the skin out, you've got an impaired acid mantle, so your P. acne bacteria are not happy, and you've also got a lot of flaking skin, so that can block the follicles again. So it's not a great combination. So instead, look for more skin-friendly forms of vitamin A, such as the esters. The oil-soluble forms of vitamin A are preferable to use when trying to improve the appearance of acne and problematic skin, because they are more friendly in terms of not drying the skin out. They are not as topically aggressive, so they're easily absorbed by the skin, and we can use much higher doses of them, so we have a better chance of resolution, but without the irritating effects of using an alcohol form of vitamin A. So those esters of vitamin A, retinol palmitate, retinol acetate, retinol propionate, are very useful when trying to treat the appearance of acne because of the skin-friendly formulation of that vitamin A and how it really helps to control that sebaceous output. So that's probably going to be the number one ingredient, is your ester forms of vitamin A. Then we have things like tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, so it makes for a great opportunity to reduce that inflammation and to really get into those pores and help with the bacterial inflammation as well. They all have antibacterial properties that would help to kill acne-causing bacteria. P. acnes. Another great, even though it's not up here in terms of topical prevention, is also a light-based therapy. Blue light is very well known to treat acne, and the reason for this is because the P. acne bacteria has a light-sensitive ingredient within its structure, the propylporphyrin, and these propylporphyrins are very sensitive to that specific wavelength of light, the blue light. So when you put somebody underneath that blue light, it's literally killing that bacteria. But as we know, blue light at that wavelength can cause harm to the skin. So make sure if you're doing blue light therapy for your acne clients, that the night before they're having a big bowl of tomato soup for the lycopene and lots of antioxidants to help protect the skin while you're trying to address the P. acne bacteria. It's really important also during your client consult to check your client's lifestyle and diet. It really doesn't help if you put them on the best regimen. You've got all these ingredients, you've got your blue light, you know exactly what you're doing in terms of professional prevention, but you haven't spoke to them about the fact that he's a 14-year-old teenager who has sports every afternoon, so he's in his sweaty clothes until 6 o'clock in the evening, comes home, doesn't shower immediately, has dinner, which is pizza or a cheese sandwich, where that morning he had yogurt for breakfast and he had, bagel with cream cheese for lunch. If you haven't spoken to him about that lifestyle, making sure that he keeps his skin clean, making sure that he checks his diet, all that dairy, the sugar, the carbs, these are all contributing factors to the exacerbation of problematic skin. So you really need to include that into your program. It's not just about clinical and home care. You really need to speak to them about their home lifestyle and diet as well. Although it's outside of our scope of practice, you can recommend recommend that they speak to a naturopath or somebody that can help them with supplementation of their diets. We know scientifically that supplementation with zinc and up to 40,000 IUs of vitamin A is very useful and very beneficial in terms of helping internally with the external acne struggle. So what are some of our treatment options of scars? So some of our treatment options, we have things like microneedling, laser resurfacing, chemical peels. And so microneedling is, I'd have to say, probably one of my go-to suggestions, just simply because it comes with very low associated risks. So there's very low risk of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, very low risk of inducing scarring, because this method in itself produces healthy scarring. We know how great it is for its anti-aging benefits. And how it really works is that it breaks down the scar tissue, and then because it's promoting collagen production, that broken down scar tissue is replaced with more soft, supple and healthy collagen tissue. Laser resurfacing is also another great option, but you really have to look, before you recommend this to your clients, at what their risk factors are. Are they able to tan very dark? Do they have a history of sun exposure in their teens and early years? What is their current Fitzpatrick type as you see them? But more importantly, what is their genetic composition of their Fitzpatrick type? You can't just take people at face value anymore. They could be hiding years and years of Mediterranean skin, and you look at them now and you think, oh, you're a Fitzpatrick 2, but you really should be treating them as a Fitzpatrick 4. So your client consultation really needs to establish the level of tanning and sun melanin that their skin is able to produce, and that will help you ascertain whether or not laser resurfacing is a good option. Chemical peels have a great place in not only helping in prevention, but also in treating of existing scars. And so your existing scars will help to be smoothed out because of the actual physical effect of the chemical peel removing vertical orientation of the skin cells. Subcision is a treatment that improves rolling scars. These scars are caused by fibrous tissue that pulls the area down, creating a depression with sloping edges. They're most common in the areas, like we mentioned, the lower cheeks and jaw, where the skin is thicker. But subcision does break up the tissue, much like microneedling, and it also uses a needle, so it allows the area to lift. So it's just a more precise way of doing sort of your medical microneedling that breaks down the whole area. Subcision can be effective treatment for acne scars, and research shows that the technique is safe and provides significant long-term improvement in some patients, much like your medical needling. To get the maximum results for pockmarks, subcision can also be combined with microneedling, laser treatments, and these laser treatments include things like your Fraxel, CO2, or Firm. You can speak to your laser manufacturers. They'll be very, very well versed on which laser will be the best for your practice, because there's so many different options. You may want to choose a laser that has multiple wavelengths or benefits versus just one particular wavelength to address one concern. Now, the great thing about using chemical peels not only is prevention, because again, it sterilizes the skin, the bacteria can't become resistant to it. They're great to use to treat existing scars. There is something called a Tca Cross. This is a chemical reconstruction of the skin scars. So that's where the CROSS acronym comes from. And this is a technique using high concentrations of TCA, that's your trichloroacetic acid, focally on atrophic acne scars to induce inflammation followed by collagenesis. One of those days. The formation of collagen, I'll just say it that way, much easier. So that's ultimately the principle. in treating scars. You need to be able to break them down first and then allow natural collagen synthesis to replace that scar tissue with much more subtle and healthier collagen. This leads to the reduction in the appearance of scars and your cosmetic improvements. We can use things like dermabrasion. We're very familiar with dermabrasion as estheticians. It's one of the procedures that we've been able to do for a long amount of time that hopefully state boards and regulations keep it within our scope of practice. Not only do we know how nice it is for anti-aging benefits, for the improvement of fine lines and wrinkles, but again, because of the ability to remove some of that vertical orientation of scar tissue, we allow healthier skin to replenish that which has been removed. Punch elevation is particularly effective for certain type of acne scars. It involves the use of a punch tool rather than a typical scalpel, and this device can precisely remove all skin quantities of tissue without affecting the skin nearby. And that is ultimately what it is that you need to look for when choosing modality to treat acne scars, is how do we keep the healthy skin safe while removing the unhealthy skin. And that's why your more precise things like subcision or punch elevation are so useful for more specific scars, medical needling for more overall scarring, but ultimately all of these help to maintain the healthy skin and really just target that acne scars. Be careful with your laser resurfacing, be mindful of your risks and considerations for darker Fitzpatrick types, and opt for more safer modalities like medical needling that do not risk post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, because while you're medical needling, there is a peptide released, interleukin-9, which helps to suppress the development of pigmentation. And so medical needling, that's why medical needling is safe for darker Fitzpatrick types and why it won't cause pigmentation, is because of this interleukin-9 that gets released. And just for me personally, now that I've come to the end of my little presentation on acne scarring, I am very proud and pleased, and we have been a long-term member and supporter of the NASNPRO, and I really do appreciate it because there is so much value in accessing this vital educational content in one place. And I think that really is such a benefit. You know, we're all very busy, our lives are busy, things are crazy at times, and at this stage, you know, being in the treatment room is really important for all of us. You know, get those lights on, get the tills ticking over. And so it's so useful as an esthetician who should constantly be seeking out quality education to be able to come to one trusted source. And that's what I think the NASNPRO delivers. It delivers quality information and partners with true industry professionals. And it's invaluable to be able to meet like-minded professionals. We're all in this together. There's no competition. We all learn from each other. Yes, we all have different brands, but we all are specialists in what it is that we're doing. And so you just need to find something that speaks to you, and stick with that. So other than that, I'd like to thank you. I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, my name is Candace. My information, candace@dermaconcepts.com. You can see some more information about DermaConcepts and what we have to offer either on our website, dermaconcepts.com, or you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram on dermaconcepts_US. So thank you for that. But wait, there is more. As you know, there are prizes for you attending today. And so I would like to take this opportunity to ask you a question. You've been watching, hopefully paying close attention, and the first person to answer will be receiving our amazing body products. I would have to say, out of all the products that we have, there are many, many special products. They're all on the foundation of vitamin A as a key ingredient. This, I would have to say, is a set of our hero products. And you will love how they feel, especially coming now into winter. You can use it from the top of your head to the tip of your toe, but basically you take a couple drops of the Dermalac lotion, which is a lactic acid base, with the ACE body oil, which is a jojoba base with vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin E. Mix them together, and every time you get out of the shower, you smooth it on all over the body. You're going to absolutely fall in love with how it feels, but you're going to be amazed at how your skin changes with the use of these two products. And so if you want to win these two products, be the first person to answer. The umbrella of retinoids, right, is just the umbrella. Underneath there are many forms, different forms of vitamin A. I mentioned one particular form of vitamin A. So one particular sort of cluster of ingredients that is going to be very good for treating acne, particularly because it's not going to dry your skin out, it's not going to irritate it, it's more skin friendly. So what is that sort of cosmetic chemistry classification of those retinoids that I recommend as looking at as a really good approach to your acne prevention? So good luck with that, and I look forward to hearing the first person who is going to be able to answer that question. I have one here, but
hey Candace. So what's the answer? Vitamin A esters.
It's your vitamin A esters.
All right. Andrea Lang, you are the winner.
Absolutely. And I see somebody said retinol palmitate. That specifically is the right form. Unfortunately, that answer came through a little bit too late. That my specific answer was the retinol esters, but even more specific. So that person deserves 10 stars who's sent through retinol palmitate.
Well, thank you so much for being here today.
I appreciate it, Denise. Thank you so much.
All right. Did everybody learn something? That was awesome. Again, Andrea, thank you so much. You are the winner. I'm going to get your name to Candace so that way the prize can be sent directly from corporate headquarters, Derma Concepts, and Viren. Again, thank them for being a diamond sponsor of NASNPRO. Isn't this exciting? So some of the presentations you're going to have to wait till the very end because we're doing door prizes. Can you give me a thumbs up or a stars if you have actually been to a NASNPRO event? If you have, then you know our education is vendor neutral, and then throughout the day after a presentation, we have these amazing door prizes. Then at the end of the day, one lucky person gets a huge basket full of goodies. So I promised you that those that are registered at NASNPROtv in the United States, they will be getting the opportunity, one lucky person, to win that door prize, which has products from Elixir of Life, RN Faces, Sunshine Botanicals, A Redness Comes. Also, Environ is sending products. We're waiting on their products. Mail was delayed because of the holidays. Happy belated Thanksgiving. Mineralogy has a pain relief cream. And I had said that I was going to add to our already amazing prizes. So Yanka, so generously, the last time we had an event, Caitlin from Yanka did an amazing presentation on aromatherapy. And you can find her segment on NASNPROtv. So we have more than just live today. If you missed anything from the last time when we had our Learn, Grow live event, go to NASNPROtv and look at the different segments. You'll see Nina Curtis. You will, like I said, Caitlin from Yanka, and I am including, they sent this to me, but I want to get it out of my toolbox and into your hands. It is their lotion, and it has just, it's an incredible for, they're saying dry skin toner. So excellent for dry skin. And as we're all going into winter, we all need a little bit of extra. So I am putting the Yanka prize, this wonderful lotion, into the end of the day gift basket. So quick, go grab another cup of coffee, sharpen those pencils, get ready for Tasha Chen at 11 o'clock. She is going to help create your 2021 money prosperity plan. She is one of our favorite financial coaches, and she teaches on the science of how to get rich. Now, I know that may sound a little MLM-y, but actually there is a whole science when it comes to how you can attract or you can manifest money. And she has traveled worldwide. She has educated on this topic. What's really neat is that she was a franchisee owner of a salon. And so she has a story. So she's part of our industry as an owner and understands the pitfalls of running multiple location businesses. And then what happens when life happens. So her 2020 life happened a couple years ago with a divorce, and she shares how you can overcome some of the tragedies or the missteps, or what you can do with time-tested, proven principles to help you in your finances. So you're not going to want to miss this. This is at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we will see you then. See you soon.